Hi everybody. This video is for all two of you who are still interested in felting. I know I've kind of overdone the felting, but I'm really enjoying it. And maybe there's somebody out there who is like my friend Mary that I visited yesterday. And when I mentioned that I was making felted hats and felted slippers, she said, "Oh, I love felted stuff." She likes the hats and the boiled wool sweaters, that kind of thing, which is the same as felted. So she said, "Oh, I'd love a pair of slippers or a hat or something." So maybe this is something you should try, but maybe like me for a long time, you haven't done it because you just didn't know where to start. You didn't know how to felt, you didn't know what kind of yarn to buy, and you didn't know how big to make the item so that it would shrink down to the right size. And for that, you need a pattern. Well, so here are the slippers. I've been wearing them for a couple days, all the time. Now, I know they don't match. I do desperately wish I had two that look like this. I think the blue is cute, but I don't, and it's okay. And I just want to say they're still a little bit big. I'm going to reduce, I almost said the recipe, the pattern a little bit more so they're not quite so loose, but they're still cozy. They are, even though the wool is kind of scratchy when you start, it is so soft to wear. It is like butter, and they're just so comfortable, and they're not hot. Even though it's July, end of July, they're not hot on my feet in the house. They're very, very comfortable, easy to put on. I can slip these on. They are kind of big, but I can slip them on without even using my hands. So I'm very pleased with the slippers. So that has inspired me to continue making slippers. Now I've already reduced the original pattern a good bit on kind of the ball of the foot. I'm sorry, I'm putting them back on my feet. So I have enough yarn in some other colors to do another pair, at least another pair. And this time I'm going to make them match. So let me turn the camera around and show you what I'm doing this time, okay? Okie dokie. So this is all this yarn. I have a good bit of black, a good bit of the purple. Actually, I probably have enough for two more pair. A little bit of the dark green left, and a little bit of the brown that I'm going to put on the toe. I like that on the toe. So what I'm doing is I'm starting with the green. So here's my almost done skein of green. And as y'all know, with a skein, you've got one end that comes out of the middle and one end that comes off the side. So as long as you don't get things tangled up, you can knit two things at one time. So I have started, this is my 36 cast on, and I think I've done 3 rows now on these circular needles. These are 10.5 needles, size 10.5 circulars. I really, really prefer the wooden. I do have, these are kind of big. Well, I should measure them. Maybe they're 24 inches or something. My other pair of wooden 10.5s, here's my glasses. Oh, they're on my head. Of course they are. These are 36 inches long. I got these for making a sweater. And so I can't use these when I'm actually knitting in the round, but I can use them for the first portion where I'm not knitting in the round. The ones that are short enough to do in the round are these, very short. But I tell you, I absolutely loathe this finish. That it's so slick, and on the wool, the stitches just slip right off. You have to be really careful. I even took some sandpaper and rubbed it on there. I might do that some more. So I save these and use these when I'm only doing, the circular part at the toe, at the ball and the toe. But the first part, I start with these. So I'm going to do, I've cast on here, and then I'm going to take these needles and I'm going to cast on from the other end. Now I have found for size 10.5 needles, and this is the best stuff for felting slippers. This is a single ply chunky. It is thicker than a worsted weight, and it is a single ply. And I have read in a couple of places that for felting purposes, a single ply is best. I just want to show you what it gives you. This is the kind of felting I like, where it is a solid mass and you can't see any rows, you can't see any stitching. You never even know that was knitted. It is an absolutely solid surface. That's the felting I want. And at least with this yarn and this pattern, that's what this gives you. Let me go get the hat that I finished yesterday, and I'll show you what it looks like instead. So here's the hat that I made yesterday. I made this with my own homespun. Okay. This is my first attempt at felting my own hand-spun yarn after I've knitted it up into this hat. This is the same hat pattern, although you can see the spot. You can really see the spot of the first reduction here. And then I did a more gradual reduction until I got to the very end. It's much more severe here at this end here. This is you're knitting two together with every single stitch. But before that, I just started doing a little bit of reduction every other row. We'll see how that turns out. I'm just desperate to know how it's going to felt. Is it going to felt? Is it going to shrink up to this big? Is it going to, what's it going to do? So we're going to go stick it in the washing machine right now. I do like how it turned out. It's real funky and fun. But I want you to see, and it is fully felted, but look how you can see, you can even see a spot where I decreased right there. See that kind of V looking thing right here? You can't necessarily see the individual stitches, but you can see the rows. I would prefer to have felting that looks like this rather than felting that looks like that. Now, that may just be an issue of preference, but it is what I like. And so, and this was plied yarn. This is a 2-ply. It was pretty thick. Some of it was quite thick, but you can't spot those, the places in there where it was kind of thick and thin. You can't spot that. But all of the hats I've done so far have been with a plied yarn, a multiple plied yarn. The other hats were made with that Patton's Classic Wool, which is an 8-ply. It's a commercial. This was homespun over here. All that to say, I'm really thinking in the future when I spin yarn that I intend to felt with, I want to spin a very thick single ply of something nice and scratchy. I want some like comb top. I don't want merino that's really, really soft and slick. I want stuff that's going to grab onto itself. That's the other difference, is that this stuff is definitely not merino. I don't know what it is. This hat is entirely merino, and so this was pretty slick to spin, and it doesn't have all the curliness and the grabbiness of some other like Leicester, English Leicester and stuff like that. Some of that's pretty scratchy, but once you felt it, it's not scratchy anymore. Okay, so I'm going to do I'm not going to do 30 rows with this like the pattern says. I'm going to do 25 and shorten that heel section just a little bit. It's not going to be shorter like on my heel. It's going to be not as long on my foot is what I mean. Let me show you. So the cast on is the same, so the height of the heel will be the same, but what will be a little bit shorter is the distance here. So I'm going to only do, instead of doing 30 rows, I'm going to do 25 and shorten it just a little bit, because where I'm getting a little bit extra room is in my heel. My heel doesn't really sit all the way in the back of the slipper. Well, isn't that pretty though? I just think there is something to me so beautiful about these smooth felted edges. I'm just really smitten. I wish I had more of that blue. I wish I knew what this yarn was that I have. Now that I figured out how it behaves, I really want more of it. I've been knitting away on my new matching pair of slippers. Fancy that. This is before they've been felted. And I've reduced the length even more. This time, looks like they're about 13 inches long, maybe a little longer. I don't have them pulled out at all. But even the 15-inch ones ended up being a little bit large. I'm wearing them right now. I've been wearing them for days. My mismatched slippers. But you can see that there's quite a bit of toe room over here, especially on the second one, which is interesting. They're still very comfortable. Hello, Leo. So I'm going to go put these into the washing machine with probably a pair of blue jeans or maybe just a towel and some tennis balls. And we'll see how they felt up and whether they take 1 or 2 or 3 washings. What do you think about that black stripe? I know I like the brown toe. This was the very last of my green. And now I'm also out of purple and I'm also out of brown. So any slippers I make in future might just, if I have one more pair, enough for one more pair, I might just have to make a black pair. I think that's all I got left. Okay. Here they are. Now, can't explain it. I still don't like these as well as the first pair that I made that look so terrible, but I'm so used to them and they fit my feet so well. These also fit well. Actually, these are like the others, a little bit big, and I think I need to wash them one more time to shrink them up a little bit more. And the nice thing is if you felt them just a little too much and they're kind of tight, if you put them on your feet and wear them, then they stretch out and they form to your foot, which is so nice. So what I'm going to have to do is to figure out how to spin my own single ply that I'm going to use to felt with. And it can't be superwash. It needs to be the scratchiest merino. And I tell you what I have that fits that description. All right, let me get out something. I'm not planning on doing this. Sorry, I don't look like much today, but I have to get this video done because I'm going out of town tomorrow to the mountains. This is some white. Just very, see how crinkly that is? That's not that straight merino. We've talked about this before. This is nice and crinkly. I think if I did I've got quite a bit of this. If I did a thick single ply, I think that would felt well, but I don't know if I want white slippers or a white hat. But that's the kind of yarn I want. Now, when I went to Franklin, I bought this. Which is a pale blue, and that's what they called combed top, and it's a little bit crinklier and scratchier. This is not merino, it's not too soft. I also got it in this butterscotch color, and I got it in kind of pretty soft butter yellow. So I'm wondering if all of those would work. It's such a thin roving. This is very thin roving. You could almost, I could almost split that in half and spin that and get a nice thick, yarn. I can just see that. I like that idea. Okay, let me see. Did I have any other colors in here of that? I think everything I got from the Spinnery Store, I got merino. That's merino. Oh, this is also that top. Ooh. Nice and scratchy. I've got some good options for that. This is merino, and this is the silk. All right. So a little rehashing of. Okay, so I've got the fiber, and now I just have to make the yarn. I have to spin it, and then I would have plenty of stuff to make. Wouldn't this to make slippers? I think this would make a good base. Nice accent. I don't know if I really want that pale yellow, but I like the idea of this in a slipper. I think it would make quite a lot. All right, so I'm getting off topic as usual. Let me dump all this back in the bag. So, got my second pair of slippers. Gonna felt them one more time. I might put them on the market table. I think that's probably a good option. Yeah, because I've got a pair that I like. All right, enough about felting. Some of the little projects I do, I try them and I move on to other things. Sometimes I come back to them later, and some things I keep on doing long term. What did I do just yesterday? Oh yeah, let me go get it. Yesterday I felt like sewing again, so I pulled out that fabric and made another. Oh, this one I really liked. This is one of those fabric bowls, and I have it on my dresser with just some little bits and bobs, a bracelet and some other things in there. I love that rose fabric. And then I decided to put that blue on the inside, and for some reason those two work together for me. I think it's because the red in here goes with so many of those colors in there. So I made that one. This one, I'm not as wild about the fabric, but this was my trial run to make sure that I remembered how to make these, because I forget things really fast. So this is one, and I have a little, this is a lovely oil diffuser. And for now, I'll just put that in there. I don't know what I'll keep in there. So a little sewing going on. What I'm really trying to tell you is that right now I'm surviving August. It's only August 1st. So I'm trying to be as crafty as I can, as creative as I can for this month. I'm leaving tomorrow to go to the mountains, to a cooler place. And I'm hoping to visit lots of pottery stores and fun restaurants and shops with some beautiful views in the mountains. So I'll be sharing that with you hopefully in the next video. Thanks guys. Bye-bye.